Good evening. It's Anita with Stamp with Anita. Let me know you're here. Give me some hearts, some likes, some thumbs up. Let me know you're here. I'm so excited to be coming tonight to share with you my Season of Elegance card class. I've done it twice already in my studio yesterday. We had ladies here all day and we had a blast. We had a blast creating these wonderful cards that I can't wait to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead, I think, and just get started. I will tell you, the ladies that came yesterday got a card packet that they got when they got here, received when they got here, and it looked like this. So it was full of all the goodies. It had the make and takes, which is all the card kits, basically, all cut and ready. They got a half a pack of this DSP, which is gorgeous. Excuse me, I will show you that when I turn my camera back down, I think. Maybe I can show you in the camera up here. Let's see. Let me see if I can open one of these. They also got a pack of a whole spool of ribbon and the gems that went with this suite. This was part of the Season of Elegance suite. So this is the gems they got. Gold gems. This beautiful ribbon, which is really wonderful because they only used like 13, 14 inches of it, and they got the whole rest of the spool to take home and use. And the same with the gems. They got to use the whole rest of those and take home. And then this is the DSP, which is sold 12 by 12, but we cut it in half, so they got half a pack. Just gorgeous. Can you see that gold foil? And then the back side is like a painted canvas. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. Some neutrals in there, the greens and the reds. And then this one is Pretty Peacock, which is kind of like a tealy, one of my favorite colors. So all this they got as part of their class. I'm so excited to be sharing these cards with you. So I'm going to turn my camera around. So the ladies also that came to the class, or the ones that are doing it online, because there were gals that ordered the kit and are doing it online with me tonight. So they got that same kit. And then I also emailed them the PDF file, which has the step-by-step instructions of all 5 of these kits. So it lays out all the products that are needed and the instructions step-by-step. Last one, all 5 cards. So that's another bonus that they get with this. And I want to show you where this set comes from, or this whole suite actually. And I should have tagged it in here. Here we go. I've opened it up to this page so much it knew it. So it's on, this is the Holiday Mini, which is almost over, ladies. We're coming down to the wire here. It starts page 22 and it shows the beautiful papers that I talked about. And do these look familiar to anybody? So I designed this whole class around the samples that were in the actual catalog. I love our catalogs because our catalogs are not just catalogs, but they are idea books. So don't ever hesitate to take the samples that you see in the catalog and turn them into cards in real time. So, and then it's going to be featuring this particular suite. They make it so easy, these suites. So everything here can be bought individually. Or you can even buy these bundles, like the stamps and the dies come separately, or you can buy it a bundle. It gives you a 10% savings, which is awesome. This suite has 2 different bundles in it. The gems that I talked about, it has the beautiful paper. It also has this gorgeous embossing folder here. I have that right here. That makes these cards, and then that gorgeous ribbon. But what's great, you can buy those all individual and type them in, but they've got like a one-stop shopping where you just put one code in. Let's get started. I'm so excited. So card number 1, I'm going to flip to this page, is this one right here. And we're going to be using, oh, let me show you. I forgot to pull those out, the stamp sets. So these are the stamp sets. One is all images. It's got those beautiful trees. You could use these for a lot more than just Christmas. Like, these would make great cards. Any of you remember the Lovely as a Tree, you know, from years ago. And then this beautiful word set that we're going to be using. And then that they have coordinating dies that I talked about. So dies, we're going to be using a bunch of them tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and pull out my packet. So I've got my 8.5 by 11 that I cut in half, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and then it's scored at 4 1/4, and I'm folding that in half. I already scored all that, but let me go ahead and use that bone folder, give it a nice crisp. This is cut out of the dies. Let me show that again. So in the dies, there's this little panel that cuts out these holes. So I cut this piece of cardstock and then ran it through there twice. And I've got the little holes aren't completely punched out, which you could go through and punch those out. But I'm actually totally okay with some of those not being punched out. So I'm just going to leave it. I've got my little star. This is one of the dies that I cut out of our gold foil paper. And I've got this, which is going to be my scrap that I'm going to stamp my trees on. And this is for my words. So let me put this here. And let's get started stamping. All right, we're going to be using some beautiful colors on these cards. Trying to move this cord out of the way so it doesn't keep falling. Okay, so I'm using Old Olive and Mossy Meadow on this particular one. Okay, my goal tonight, ladies, is to try to do this without getting ink all over my fingers. Do you think I can succeed? Let me know in the comments. Let me turn these around so you can actually read what those are. All right, so there's Old Olive, that's Mossy Meadow, and I'm using these trees. I'm going to take my first one, the big image. And a lot of times with these, since it's bigger than the pad, instead of stamping this way, I like to lay the ink pad down and then or the stamp down and take the ink pad and stamp on top of it like this. I feel like I just have better control with it that way. Looks like I didn't ink that all the way down there. So this actually will look like it's not inked all the way, but it's actually the design of the image, because it's going to look like watercolor when you're done. I love it because it's like, it makes you look like an artist. It does all the work for you. Isn't that gorgeous? And I do have my scrub pad, so I'm going to go ahead and get that and clean, keep these clean as I'm going. Because we're going to use this one again. All right. So then the next image, actually let me put this over here, is this one right here. And these are going to be stamped in the Mossy Meadow. Now this one I'm going to go ahead and just stamp on here because it fits pretty well. Straight down and straight up. We're always tempted to rock the stamps, and I try to tell the girls that you don't really want to rock the stamps. You just want to press straight down and straight up. So then this one is the small. So we have a large, medium, and a small, like so. And I just realized when I did this for the class, I did it so that these would fit in my big, I'm going to shut these, ladies, and put them up here out of the way, in my big Stamp and Emboss machine. But tonight I'm actually going to be using my little baby one. So let me pull that up. Put my star over here so I don't lose it. So I'm going to pull this up. And we've got the plates. I've got my bottom plate, my plate number 2. See if you can see that. I'm going to lay that down. Now, this isn't going to fit through here. I was just realizing that. Like I said, I cut this so it would be for my big one. So I'm just going to trim this so these fit on here. This one might. No, it's not going to. Now, when I did it with my big one, the regular size, it was great because you literally could put all 3 of the dies on at once. I've got my dies right here, and run them through all at once, so it's a lot quicker. But to have something here at my desk, it's kind of nice. So I've got my die, and I've got my wonderful tape that I've been using, this Post-it note tape, which helps hold the, I got to throw my readers on so I can actually see what I'm doing, ladies. All right. I probably should have cut these out ahead of time, but you know, if the girls at home that bought the kit are stamping along with me, then this gives them the opportunity to go ahead and do theirs as well. So I'm going to run that through. Hopefully I'm not going to shake things up too much. I'm sure it is a little. So here you have it. And that tape, I love it. Again, it just comes right off. And there you have it. All cut out. I've got my 3 trees, and I'm going to bring back in this piece of vanilla, and we're going to use the Cherry Cobbler. What a beautiful Christmas color. My Cherry Cobbler ink pad, and I'm going to use one of the words, messages out of here that's, oh, I do this all the time. I tap and I touch the ink pad. I thought I put some wipes over here, but I don't know what I did with them, so I've got a tissue. I don't know why I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. It's kind of hard to see on there, but that works. All right, I'm going to clean this off again. This time I'm going to use a chamois, since this is one of the clear ones. All right. That is cleaned off. All right, got my pieces and parts. I'm going to, actually I want to stamp the inside before I put that away. So I'm going to take my card and go ahead and stamp the inside with a message. And let's see, we're going to do this one. So, friends and family are the true gift of Christmas. Love it. Clean it off again. Can you hear that little, sounds like a squeegee? All right. Hopefully I don't have that red ink all over me. I didn't make it past the first card without getting ink on me. Of course not. All right. Okay, so let's assemble now. So this one is the piece that I had cut out, and I am just going to find my adhesive. Here we go. My stamp and seal. And they were asking, how do I do this without the ink coming through like the dots? You know, I really didn't think it mattered if it did, even if it came through a little bit. So I'm just tapping it a little bit on here. And I'm going to take it and lay it down at the top of the card. Make sure I've got this laid right at the top of the card. I've got it cut to the whole width of the card, which is 4 1/4. There we go, and I've got that glued down. And then we're going to take our trees, and the easiest way I found to just assemble these is just to go ahead and take some of my dimensionals. On this center one, this is the big one, figure out where I want that baby. So it's just going to go right about, let's see, right about here maybe. Okay, and then these actually are sliding back behind, but since I just put the dimensionals kind of in the center, it's going to fit perfectly fine. So it's just going to slip back behind like that. And then the same with the smaller one. And it's going to fit on this other side. Like so. Let's see. Let's go. I'm going to put it up a little further. Like so. Okay. Don't they look like they've been watercolored? I just love it. And then this one right here, I'm going to put right here. I might put a little bit of a dimensional on the edge. Let's cut these edges. Don't ever throw these away. Oh, I cut all these little edges and use them. Years ago when I had my stamp camp, sometimes I'd walk by the trash can and there'd be a whole pack with the edges around. I was like, blasphemy. I had to pull them all out. So I'm going to put the dimensional on the edge of that one, and then just stick a little adhesive here, because this part's just going to literally rest on top of the trees because they're already popped up. So let's put those right about here. And then I've got my little star, and I think I have some little minis. Let's see if I have the little mini. I need to order some more of those. We might have used them all during class. No, here's some. These are a little smaller. So I'm going to take one of the little minis on the star. Sorry, I keep thinking I'm going off camera. I can't really tell. So, and then stick it on the top right there. And voila, that card is done, ladies. It's so cute. Now, we've got to do the envelopes. We can't have naked envelopes. So we're going to pull out just this. Actually, let's use the, I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow on this one. So Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to use like the medium size stamp. And I'm going to take it on the edge of this envelope and stamp it directly down, and then pick it up, move it, and slide it down just a little bit. And it almost looks like it's like in a forest, and that this tree is further back. So isn't that super cute? Can you see that? So there's card number 1, ladies. Voila! Let me go ahead and clean off my ink, or my stamp again. I just realized my scrub pad is soaking wet because I cleaned it last night. So, all right. So there's card number 1. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside, and we will do card number 2. So I'm going to pull in my packet again. Here it is. Card number 2. This one's probably the most involved. So let's get started on that. Here we go. This is the packet for this one. I don't think there's anything hiding in there. No, we're good. This one I have got a white envelope. Okay, so this I've got Old Olive, and what I did is I ran this through the folder. Usually you would fold it this way, and it would be, it's the dry embossing, and it's popped up. But this card was designed, and I was trying to follow what it showed in the catalog, was designed the opposite so that the card is debossed. So it's indented in. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. So I've got that. I've got a strip of that beautiful Designer Series paper. I've got a piece of the cherry cobbler that I cut out the word Christmas, and I actually saved that cutout because it's going to be used on another card. I've got a piece of foil, one of the dies that are cut out of the die set, and one of the trees that's cut out. And then I've got 2 pieces of vanilla, and the larger one is for the inside of the card. And this one, again, we're going to stamp and cut out. And I promise this is the last one that we have to run through the Big Shot. Big Shot, yeah, you caught me. The Stamp Emboss machine, I still call it a Big Shot. Old habits are hard to die, so I'm going to stamp that down. Again, this is stamped in Old Olive. And I don't know what I did with my cleaner now. Oh, here it is. I love that set so much. All right, let's close this up so we don't make a mess. All right, and let me go ahead. I'm going to move this. I'm going to pull our Stamp Emboss machine up one more time. And again, this one's the mini. So there's my tree. All right. And the other thing I need to do for this card on this piece right here, I'm going to get all the pieces prepped, is we are going to stamp it and emboss it. So heat emboss this time. So I'm going to pull in my heat tool. By the way, I call this a heat gun all the time, and that's not a great thing to call it when you're going through security at an airport. Just saying. Unless you want to have everything in your belongings torn apart to see what you have. So I've got my little kit right here, and I'm going to be using Versamark pad. And this time we're using In the Air. So I'm inking that up. Versamark is just like a watermark pad. You can stamp on any cardstock with it. It's kind of tacky, as in it's kind of sticky. So the powder sticks to it. But you could also just use it as is. Oh, that is so bad. It's going so downhill, ladies. Let's see if I have an extra one. Oh my goodness, how did I get so bad with that? I don't know if I have an extra one. You know what I forgot to do too? I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to do the other side. I forgot to use the embossing buddy on it anyway. And actually, you know what? I think part of it, I think it's easier. I'm going to take this off of here. I think it's actually easier to do this on a bigger stamp or a bigger block, because when I'm looking through that little one, which I don't even think we carry that size anymore, it's hard to see the edges of the cardstock. So here we go. So I've got a D block, and now I can see how it's so much easier to see through it. So just a little tip pointer for you. If you are having trouble, you can do that. All right, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to stick this in my little kit here. I've got white embossing powder, and I've got a little tool to hold this. Like I said, that could you just dry and see it's like tone on tone. It's great for like background papers and even scrapbooking. So I tapped it off, and then I'm going to heat this up. I don't think this is going to be too loud for you, but since I haven't been running this, I kind of smudged that. Can you see how smudgy that is? The word is. It's because I like squished it. When you're stamping this, you really just need to tap it onto the paper. But you know what? We're just going to go with it, ladies, since I messed up the other side. Can you see how it's starting to, that white is starting to really brighten up? That's the embossing powder heating up. Embossing powder is just like little teeny plastic particles that when you heat it up, it melts and becomes somewhat puffy and glossy. You don't want to touch that right away because it still might be a little wet. All right, let's see. What else do we need to do here? Okay, the other thing we need to do to prep this card is I need to take my ribbon, and you can cut it to about 13 inches, I think is what I had in the packet. And then you can choose to just use this whole, right? Just like it is. But in the sample, in the catalog, they actually took it, and I can't believe I'm doing this on camera, and they sliced it up the center so that it became, well, they got 2 pieces of ribbon for one, but it also just became this really thin piece of ribbon then. This is a challenge for me. But if you just take it slow, you can just slice it right up the center. Again, I'll show you a card because one of the samples I made yesterday during one of the classes, I just used the whole ribbon. I didn't slice it. And I'll show you that when I'm done and you can see the difference. But it's just sliced up the center. It just gives you, it makes the ribbon look completely different. I got so much ink on my fingers already. I'm getting to the end here and it doesn't want to stay straight because I have nothing to hold on to. All right. Woohoo! That was stressful. Okay, so there we go. I've got that thin piece of ribbon, and these two look pretty good, actually. The ones I did before, one was so thin, I really couldn't use it. So, all right, I think I have all my pieces and parts now. So what we're going to do, we're going to start putting these pieces together. This and this, I put the sticker paper on the back of this. the self-adhesive paper. And so I'm going to peel this off carefully because it likes to stick. And it also, when you get to the C here, it really likes to pull that part of the C up. So I'm going to try to be careful as I'm doing that because I don't want to rip the cardstock. So I find it's easier to use some type of tool, a stylus or tweezers or something like this to hold it. Otherwise it's going to stick to my fingers so badly. And then I'm going to take the gold and put it down. And I cut it like just a hair smaller. And watch. Ta-da! I love it. It just adds so much fun and so much bling to that. All right. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this piece that was already die cut out, and I'm going to take some of our multi-purpose liquid glue. I am going to punch out, I guess I should say, some of these little holes that didn't get taken out. There we go. So I have the complete. And then I'm just going to add a little, this adhesive is like a little goes a long way. You don't really need a lot. So I'm just going to dab a little dots of adhesive down pretty much just through the center of that. And then I'm going to take that, and this layers perfectly on top of this stamped and die cut tree. Like so. And it just gives it more dimension. Isn't that awesome? Oh, did I not put enough? Oh my goodness, ladies. I guess I just didn't put enough at all. All right, so a little dab will do you, but you need to have something on there, I guess. I've never had that happen before. I wonder if I've got like embossing powder or something on here that's just making it not want to stick. The liquid glue you do have to kind of hold just for a second too, and I might not have just held it long enough. Okay. There we go. So it's good to go. So I got this piece. So this one I'm going to take, and I'm just going to trim it at a little bit of an angle. So I'm just going to take it there and there. If you wanted those to be perfect, the first one you cut off, you could have just taken it and flipped it over here and used it, but I didn't really care if it was completely perfect. So this, I'm going to attach the Christmas, I'm going to attach to that. So I'm just going to add a strip of adhesive at the bottom of that on the back. And put it about, I don't know, about right here. Looks good. Looks straight. Oh, it's so pretty. All right, then the tree I'm going to take, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of that. Oops. And I'm going to take this ribbon, and this is one of those things that if you think about it too much, then it typically doesn't work. But we're going to like swirl it back and forth like this, and then attach it to the back of the tree, like so. So let's see, I think I want to go up this way a little further at the top, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add dimensionals to the back of that, and that's going to hold that all in place for me. Find some more dimensionals over here. So I'm going to stick one here. I'm going to do two down here. Oops, and then one on top of this ribbon so it stays. I'm going to bring my card back in. I've got all my pieces and parts. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to first put down the tree. So pull the dimensional backs off. I've moved my trash can, so now all this stuff is just going right to the floor instead. And then I'm going to put this right about here. Like so. And then this one is going to go on top of here. And I'm going to put the dimensionals again on this side. Let's do another one there. And then probably one up in this corner up here, because the rest of that is just going to be kind of resting on the tree. So let's take those dimensionals off. I Actually, I can put one down this way too. Can never have too many dimensionals, right? All right, so here we go. I might want to pull some of this ribbon. Now that I'm seeing it, I want to pull some of this down so it shows up. There we go. Just going to play. Still want to pull that down a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. Let's see. Does that look about right? Right about there. There you go. And then we're going to add the bling. This has got like, I think 3 different sizes in here, which is kind of nice. So I'm just going to take, oh, you know what? I've got to put this on first. So let's put this on first. This is going to go right about here. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pop it up, maybe with the little ones. Gotta put that on there. I almost forgot it. Again, when I don't have a class in person, I don't have the ladies here to say, hey, you missed something. So here, let's go ahead and put this on before we put the bling. I always like to do the bling last. Kind of like the crowning jewel. There you go. Christmas is in the air. And then we'll do the bling. I'm going to do one of these giant ones down here. I'm going to use one of each on this one. One right here. And we'll use a smaller one up, I don't know, right about there. Isn't that so pretty? And then what we need to do is we need to do the inside. So I've got this piece right here. And for the inside of this, I'm going to actually use 2 different words. Oops. God, they're sticking to each other. All right, so this one, and I'm going to go back to the old olive on this. This one says, wishing you and yours. Tap, tap, tap. That's what I kept saying yesterday to the girls. Wishing you and yours. And the other image is this one. Tap, tap, tap. A season of wonder and happiness. I love that. I'm going to close that up. Well, actually, I'm going to leave that open because I need to stamp the envelope, so I might as well leave it open. But let me clean this off because I'm definitely using this on another card. So let's put that there. Clean this one off. And we're going to go ahead and put this into the inside of our card. And then for the envelope, can't have naked envelopes, ladies. We just can't. I tend to be drawn to this medium size for the envelopes. So I'm going to stand up so I can stamp this straight down here. I'm going to stamp it once and twice and maybe even 3 times there. And then maybe just twice on this side. So it looks kind of like a forest of trees on there. Actually, this one doesn't look like it. I'm going to stamp this right here. You can't really see that one. There we go. Isn't that lovely? I just love it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's like a new favorite of mine. Sorry, I'm cleaning my stamps. And I'm going to close that. And that, my friends, is card number 2. Ta-da! Christmas is in the air. Wishing you and yours a season of wonder and happiness. So I love that. That's so pretty. All right, card number 2. Let's move on to card number 3. Here we go. So this one, this is that Basic Beige, which is a new neutral for us, and I am loving it. It's, I can't even explain it. It's just a really nice, subtle neutral that I have fallen in love with. I did run it through my embossing folder with the trees. This time we're going to use it this way up. And I've got, this is the base, actually. This is just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then this is cut, let's see, I did 3 3/4 by 11 and then cut it, scored it in half at 5 1/2. So we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and put it down. Typically I stamp in it first, but with this, since all I'm going to do is like a sentiment inside, this shouldn't be a problem. Might have to move this out of the camera so I can make sure I've got this lined up right. These old eyes, I'm telling you anymore, I can't see anything without readers on. It's terrible. Oh, it's not straight. That's why I never push it until I know I've got it straight. So I can pull it up. There we go. Now I'm going to push it down. All right. Are we still in the camera there? All right. So there we go. I've got that on there. Now, remember when I said the other piece from this card? Oops, sorry. I cut that cherry cobbler, the word Christmas out. That's what I have left. I stuck it on this Post-it note because I didn't want to lose that little eye out of Christmas. So I've got that. And the most challenging part of that is that it does have that adhesive paper on the back, and getting the backing off that eye was the biggest challenge of classes yesterday. So I've got these other tiny little pieces. This one right here, we're going to be using Lost Lagoon, another favorite ink color of mine, and this stamp set, or stamp image, that says love from our home to your home. Okay, see how it's almost impossible to see that very vanilla under there? So what I like to do is pull in something dark. Even if it could just even be a piece of cardstock. But this foam pad is nice because it also helps me to stamp things. So now it makes it so much easier for me to see the image. I still might have messed it up. You know, I'm going to go with it. I'm going with it, girls. It's a little crooked, but that's, you know it's homemade, right? That way. So I'm going to set that aside. Close this baby back up. And then this piece right here, we're going to pull in the embossing heat gun again. And this time, we're going to be doing gold. And I've got my gold in a little container to make things, oops, I almost spilled that right in my lap, ladies. That would not have been good. And this one, we're going to stamp the word happy. You have the option to do happy or merry, but since I'm doing merry on another card, I thought it would be fun to do happy. So this, I'm going to tap it onto my Versamark again. And get above it here and then stamp it straight down. Tap, tap, tap. I was watching my friend Julie the other day embossing, and that's what she was doing. Because I made the same mistake that she did, where you squish it down and it like distorts the letters. And she's like, just put it on there and tap, tap, tap. So thanks, Julie. That was very helpful, my friend Julie Salva. Okay, so I'm going to take that, and I'm just going to dip it. And again, see, it's tone on tone. I could totally just let that dry, but I want to see the cat hair. I want to totally see the word. So we're going to tap that off. That looks good. And I'm going to put a lid on this just because I don't trust myself. And we're going to fire up the heat tool again. And this one, I think you'll actually be able to see it even better when it starts to heat up. When I'm doing a lot of these, it heats up so much quicker because the heat gun's already kind of warmed up. There it goes. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Maybe right there. Where it's starting to change. It's going from this dark, dull gold to this, turn this off, to this bright, beautiful gold. Oops, there we go. I love it. Trying to put my heat gun here so I don't spill everything. Okay, So we've got that. All right, what else do we need here? I've got this. So let me go ahead and we'll do this part. So I've got the word Christmas, and I've got to put this onto here. So I've got a stylus tool here that I think is going to work the best by pulling that sticker up off of there, that backing. Also, maybe the pick tool might work good for that too. There we go. So I've got it started. This is the stuff where I'm like, am I really doing this on camera? All right, it's coming, ladies. Again, you could just use the glue and glue it down. But once you start using this, you kind of get accustomed to how it works. All right, so there I've got it. I do have like embossing powder all over my work surface now. All right, so we're going to attach this on here. And again, I don't want to press it down until I know I've got it exactly in the place. I might have to pull it out of the camera. No, I'm standing up, so maybe I can get it here. It gets tricky right between that I-S-T. That's where the girls had the issue yesterday. But there we go. It's getting there. So I'm gluing it down on top. Oh, that might need to be slid over just a little bit. I guess the smart thing would have been to do this off camera and have it ready, but then what's the fun in that? You seeing me struggle. Okay, so now the eye. I'm telling you, this is the hard part. The dot from the eye. So I'm gonna, I don't know if you can see, I'm gonna try to, there we go. Girls, I got it. I have like no nails. Okay, there it is. That was so much easier than yesterday. All right. The first time I did it, when I made the samples, I just used the liquid glue. Isn't that beautiful? I just love the script. All right, let's see if I have all my pieces. This. All right, so now we got to finagle this background. I've got this and it's beautiful, but we're going to jazz it up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my old olive ink pad. I'm going to move these out of the way so I don't get anything on them. And my Mossy Meadow. All right, got my sponge daubers here. I'm going to take my old olive. There we go. And what I'm going to do when I burnish this over top of this tree that's been embossed, it's going to like color it in for me. Some of the girls said this was the most fun part. They loved doing this. It was kind of therapeutic. So I'm just going to burnish it on top of there. And I'm doing it lightly. I'm not putting a lot of force on here because you can always add more. You can't really take it away. So I always say start with a little and then you can add as you go. And also if you start like kind of here in the center to get a feel for it, because a lot of that's going to be covered, then you can kind of practice a little bit before you go up here to the tip, where obviously it's going to show. But I love this, and I love that these just fit right into your fingers. This is kind of fun. But you see that, how it's like looking like it's a couple different colors, like light and dark, just because the points, the tips that are higher up in the embossing folder are getting more of the ink on it. So it's making it look a little darker than the pieces that are more recessed. So we've got that. Isn't that cool? And then, I'm going to get this out of the way. Then I'm going to go into the Mossy Meadow, which is a little darker, and go back in it. Again, carefully and gently. And can you see the difference in those two trees? It just makes it pop. I just love it. I'm probably shaking the table. Sorry. If you don't have sponge daubers, if you have some kind of sponge, stamping sponge would probably work. I'm I mean, you can even roll up a little piece of like a paper towel and do it, but the sponge daubers just make it so nice. Those are colored in. I'm going to close these. Actually, you know what? Before, well, I'm trying to think of what I'm going to use on the cover. I'll leave this one open because I'm going to use that on the cover, but I'll put it out of the way so I don't get it all over me. So now what we're going to do, we're going to attach these to the card, and I'm just simply going to take probably the minis and add mini dimensionals onto the back here to pop it up. And then I'm actually going to cut one of these even further for over here on this, on the C, the edge there that's so thin. There we go. Take the backing off, throw it on my floor. I'll vacuum later. And then I'm going to attach this to the card. I'm thinking right about here. Ta-da! And then the word happy. Happy Christmas. A little different than Merry Christmas, but it sounds happy. I like it. You, like I said, you could use either on this. Happy Christmas. And then this right here. This is where I should have gotten those little strips. We also have the dimensionals that are like in strips. That would probably have been helpful for a piece like this. All right. And then this, I'm just going to place right about here. There we go. Oops. Nothing wants to stick tonight. I didn't press it down, I guess. There we go. Isn't that fun? And of course, we need to add some of the bling. Let's not forget the bling. I think this time I'm going to use a couple of the medium. Let's just stick one there, one about here, and one right about here. Like so. And then I've got to stamp the inside. So for this one, I'm simply going to take this, and I think I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock, which I'm going to use also on the envelope. So I'm going to tap, 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 open this up, and I'm going to stamp this on the inside. Oops! Let's stamp it right side up. Wishing you all the things that warm your heart and lift your spirits. Love that. I'm going to clean it off because we might be using that on another one. I can't remember. All right, and then for the envelope for this one, I've got this old olive. I'm pulling that back over. I am going to stamp. I'm going to go in with this Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to stamp it once, and then I'm going to go down here like so, and then I'm going to clean that off. So I got that cleaned off, and then I'm going to go into the old olive and stamp it. I don't know if I want to stamp it full or part. I think I'm going to stamp it off and then go like there. Isn't that gorgeous? And it works so well with this card with the colors on there. So I love that. Let me close these up. So that is card number, what is that? 3. We're getting there, ladies. We're getting there. Okay, so there's card number 3. Love it. All right, moving on. I'm going to keep this mess down here because the next card we're going to be doing some more artsy things. So card number, oh, that was card number 3. I never did show you that. So that's card number 3. And now we're moving on to card number 4. So this one, oops, pull my packet over. I've got it. I'm going to pull this out. I got lots of pieces and parts in here. Again, I'm using an old retired vanilla envelope. I've got all these die cut trees out. I've got 2 sheets of very vanilla. I've got the Pretty Peacock. I almost said Pretty in Peacock. cut and scored, folded in half. So that's my, actually it's going to be this way, is my base for my card. And then one of these is for the inside and one's for the outside of the card. And I'm going to show you a fun technique. So I'm going to pull in some of these blending brushes that we have. And we're going to do something fun with these. So I took, in the packet, the girls got one of the die cut trees, and I just cut this out of like one of the backing from a DSP paper. And I had taken one of them and took some of the multi-purpose glue and put on there and let it dry. And it basically becomes like a Post-it note. I don't know how sticky this is still, but it'll work fine for what we're doing. You don't have to do that part. You can just use the stencil as it is. It's just kind of hard to hold on to. And this one might not be sticky enough anyway, but we're going to go with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick this down onto the cardstock. And then I'm going to start with the Pool Party. Move this out of the way. And I'm going to take the blending brush and pick up some ink. And when I'm doing this, I always like to start off of the cardstock and work my way in. Because a lot of times if you get too much ink and you go down, see how it's kind of like, I don't know, it's more smudgy. So it's nice to kind of start off and then just, like I said, just work your way in to the cardstock. And I'm just using that cutout tree as a stencil. And then I'm going to take it and pick it up. And I'm going to move it. I'm going to like, some are higher, some are lower. And I'm kind of purposely doing this darker than what my card was. Oh, I should have stuck that down a little better. If it moves around, it's not the end of the world, because basically we're making a forest in the background here. All right, and so we're just going to keep doing this. There's that background. I love it. Love it so much. And then I'm going to take the crumb cake and do the, oops, not with that one. I've got a different one. The crumb cake, and do the same thing on, this is to represent the ground. And again, I'm going to try to start off and work my way on. I probably got a little dark there, but that's all right. And just kind of burnish that. I'm not using a stencil, I'm just adding color. Since I did that one so dark, I'm going to darken up the rest of it so it looks like I did it on purpose. That's legit, right? And then the other thing I'm going to do, there's another stamp. Here it is. And this was in with the trees, and it's like kind of snow, I guess. Little snowflakes. And I'm just going to kind of gently tap those in the background. I'm tapping off a little bit before I put it on here so it's not so dark. And then I'm going to clean it off because I'm going to do the same thing with the crumb cake at the bottom. So there we go. Tap that off a little bit. And again, it just makes it look like this artsy. That one, it looks like it got a little dark, but that's all right. We'll put some other dark ones in there, maybe. There we go. It's a blizzard. So it's just a very unique look. I love it. All right. Before we put it together, let's close this up. I'm going to take, this again is one of the die cut images. out of the die set that coordinates with the words. And I'm going to take Pretty Peacock. We're pulling that back in, and we're going to stamp this. Let's see. We're going to use this one right here. A Season of Wonder and Happiness. I was like, tap, tap, tap. And then straight down. Tap, tap, tap. Oh, ladies. I guess I didn't tap enough. I wonder if I can, I'm going to try to go right on top of that. And if it doesn't work, we'll figure it out. Let me see. I don't know that I can. I don't think it's going to be lined up enough. No. Let me see. If I have a extra one, I do. I could have just flipped this one over too. But the dies do have a definite front and back. Worst comes to worst, you can flip it over, but I've got a clean one here. I don't know why. Usually I don't have trouble on this desk. Usually my plastic tables I have trouble. All right. I pressed. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. I love that. I love these script words mixed with the serif lettering. This is so pretty. And then let me see. Let's put this together. I think I have all my pieces and parts now. So I'm going to take the base. I'm going to go ahead and glue it down onto the front here and glue it onto the base. Like so. It's just going to be centered on there. And then I've got, that's my little stencil. I've got my trees. So we're just going to use, I didn't put these, I didn't put adhesive on these, so we're just putting the liquid glue. And these two trees here, two of them are cut out of the Designer Series paper. And it's the green, and it has that gold on it. So it's so, so pretty. So, trying to see my samples so I can get the placement of where I want it. Okay, so we're going to do this one about, maybe about right there. Glue down. Some bling. And then we've got a couple that are cut out of the crumb cake. And I'm going to punch these out. There's some holes still in there. I probably could have left these, but, oh, they're still hanging on. They're hanging on to the back. You know what? They're staying. So I put some adhesive on there, and then this one I'm going to put down right about here. And then I've got another one of the green with the beautiful gold. Let's stick some adhesive on the back of this. And it's going to go right about here. And then the last, but not least, is another one cut out of the crumb cake. Another small. That one doesn't want to stay. All right. And we'll stick this down. Alrighty. And looks good to me. And then with the verbiage, that's going to get popped up. Let's see, with dimensionals. I'm going to put 3 on this one since it's a long one. And then we're just going to pop this up on the front. Let's see, right about here. A Season of Wonder and Happiness. And then last, of course, is to add some of the bling back in. So let's see, this one, what do I want to do with this one? I think I'm going to do a medium. Let's do it right here. And then let's put a couple small ones on here. Maybe one over here and one over, we'll put one right here. When you're adding bling to things, I like to use odd number, or yes, odd numbers. So like 3, 5, 7. It's just a design thing that just makes it look a little better than even. Did I do the inside? I did not do the inside yet. So let's pull this over. Let's get this inside done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm going to, for the fun of it, take this stencil back over again. I don't even know if I need to put it in the ink pad. I might not need to because it might have enough ink on here. Just going to put like, oops, it doesn't want to stick now. So this again is for the inside. And then for the verbiage on this, we're going to use this. As soon as I stamp it, I'll be able to read it. Hoping this season is bright and beautiful. I'm going to clean my stamp off. And so we're going to attach that. We're getting down to the wire, and I'm getting more and more inky as we go. All right, let's put it in the correct way. Sorry, I just hit the camera. All right. Oh, but just that little subtle, I love it. And then we're actually gonna, let me close this baby up. I'm gonna do the same thing. I could have just stamped more trees on the envelope, but I'm loving this idea of using that stencil for the outside as well. So I'm just going to throw that tree on there. I'm going to add some color on there this time. And just add that. And I don't even think I'm going to do more than one, maybe. Oops. Here we go. Just do one, and then what I'm going to do is add just some of this around the edges of this card, or the envelope, I'm sorry. And then if I wanted, I could even pull in my snow. Remember our snow that we used? I could even pull in some of that. I think we're done with this one. Let's see. So there's the envelope. And then here is the card. I love it. Again, it's a little more pronounced than the other one. I'll show you my samples at the end. But I love that. So that's card number 4. And before I go to card number 5, our last card, I'm going to flip this over so that I don't get all that over on my other cards. And here we go. Got my card base. It's in crumb cake, and this one's the quickest. It's in crumb cake, and the sample in the catalog, I did something a little different. They just had the crumb cake plain, but I actually took it and ran it through our wood grain folder. I just thought it worked really well with this card. And this one, we've got a banner that's cut out, die cut out. And this time we are using the word Mary, and we are going to do our last heat embossing here. I have the embossing buddy, and the reason I'm using that is it's kind of almost like a cornstarchy. I mean, that's not what it is, but it feels like that. It might be it. I don't know. It's kind of powdery, and what it does is it helps with the static on that cardstock, so that when I ink this up, again, it's sticky, and when I ink it up, that I put the powder on, and the powder will stick just to that sticky ink instead of to the rest of the cardstock. So if there's a lot of static on the cardstock, it might inhibit that. It might stick to it. But I don't know, as dry as it is in Ohio right now, it might stick anyway. So I'm just going to dip that in there. Shake it off. I also realized my embossing powder is so old. We were actually out of embossing powder for the longest time. But I've been using this old one. So it might just, I might need to get some new embossing powder that's fresh and new and embosses maybe a little quicker. This one, the white is harder, I think, to see it change than, you can kind of see it, maybe. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it gets glossy. Embossing powder will go from this dull powder to this gloss. That is good to go. All right. And so for the rest of this card, it's simple stamping. So we're using Old Olive again. It's the shining star in this these cards is our Old Olive. We're going to use the word Christmas. And then we're also using, here is in the stamp set. So it's got a little nestled trees. So my Mary is probably going to be pretty much in the middle of the card. So I want to think about that when I'm stamping. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to try to ink it up really well. And then this is going to be stamped, I don't know, about an inch or so from the bottom of the card base there. Like so. And then the trees I'm going to stamp in crumb cake. So this is more of a neutral card other than the word Mary. It's going to be nice and bright. So we're using the crumb cake. Going to ink that up really well. And then, like I said, I kind of go, okay, this is where this is going to go. So I want the trees about there. And I'm going to try to center them. Not too bad. I didn't do too bad, ladies. Actually, I'm going to use that, so I'm going to leave that open. And then this Mary is simply just popped up on the front here. So I've got pieces of the dimensionals from the edge. And then this is it's going to overlap the trees a little bit. I love it. And then this is just going to get attached to the base. And again, it's got that wood grain, so it makes it just kind of nice and gives it a little detail. I love cards where you look at them, and then the longer you look at them, the more details you see. There you go. And then if you want to add the bling, of course we want to add bling, right, ladies? Let's see. I'm going to do, I think, a medium one about here. And then maybe some small ones on this one, since there's not a lot on this card, so I don't want to take away too much. Right there. So looky there. Cute, simple, but that wood grain just adds some detail. And then for this, I didn't even put an insert in this one. I just am going to go back to my Old Olive. Going to ink this one up. We used this, I think, earlier on a card. And I'm just going to stamp it down into the center. Wishing you all the things that warm your heart and lift your spirits. Oh, shook the thing again. And then for the envelope for this one, again, I'm keeping it really simple. I'm blessed to have a little bit of vanilla left. Guess once my stock is gone, it's gone. But I've got the crumb cake, and I'm just going to take those same little nesting of trees, and I'm just going to start at the bottom and just work my way over. Close this up. So there's that card. That's card number 5, ladies. We did it! I can't believe it. We did it. I'm so excited. Move these. So these are the ink pads I used. We used Mellow Moss, Old Olive, Cherry Cobbler, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. And then we also used Crumb Cake and that Pool Party to add that fun background. So I'm going to pull in, I'm going to move this, and I'm going to pull in all the cards. All the cards. So there's that one. And here's card number, hopefully I'm still in the frame, 4. This was card number 3. Card number 2. Let's go down under here. And then card number 1. Back to the beginning here. These are my cards. I'm so glad I got to share these with you. Let me, I'm going to attempt to flip my camera back over again so I can chat with you. All right, so that was so fun. Let me move this so I can see. I hope you enjoyed my cards. I had such a fun time sharing those with you. So card number 1 with the envelope. Card number 2. Oh, is that back? No, it's front. Okay. I was like, is that reversed? Card number 3. Card number 4. You got to play with some product and be a little artist. And card number 5. So I had such a fun time sharing these with you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and evening, week, and a wonderful Merry Christmas. I'll talk to you later, ladies. Bye-bye.